Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is my recap and review of the challenge Spies, Lies, and Allies, episode 7. So, really, with this episode, there's not really that much to cover because we fast forward back to when Josh and Fessy are getting into their fight. Fessy pretty much mushes Josh in the face. Then Josh throws the drink at him. And actually, what I had heard is that I think it was edited out is that when Josh threw I thought Josh had just threw water, but looks like he actually threw the glass, and the glass actually hit Fessy and cut him. So if that happened, then Josh should have left. So spoilers, so y'all didn't know, Josh didn't end up leaving. Fessy was the one who ended up leaving, which wasn't surprising because the challenge, they don't tolerate violence to an extent because we've seen in past seasons where there have been altercations, but TJ gave him a warning. Perfect example was last season. Devin was antagonizing Josh, saying, Big Brother sucks, Big Brother sucks. He was near him, and Josh tells him, get out my face, get out my face. Just get away from me. He ends up, pushing Devin down to the couch. And I doubt he pushed him that hard, but, Devin kind of just exaggerated it too. But, yeah. Amber and Esther make up. I don't see how I wouldn't make up with somebody who throws a drink in my face. That's just me. And especially after she's saying Amber's fake and she's a liar. It looks like, even on the challenge aftermath, after that last episode, looks like they're not on good terms. And then even this past one, on the aftermath, they also had Esther. She said, I don't have an issue with Amber, but at this time, I don't believe in pursuing a relationship with her. So, that was that. You know, Josh, man, I don't know, man. I wouldn't say he's as bad as Camilla, because we saw when Camilla got drunk and turns into the Camillinator. Um, you know, but the guy is way too emotional, and I'm not saying necessarily that's a bad thing, but we're seeing how his kind of blow-ups are getting progressively kind of worse, at least how I see it. Um, Especially when he has the instance where he starts getting into it with Amanda when she says enough, and he's like, "Oh, you were the one antagonizing it," when she wasn't. It was Corey and Tori, and then where it's like he's going hard at her, and he had another glass in his hand, and he throws it down like, this is more than a game. These are my real life friends, and it's like, whoa, whoa, man, you're like 6'2", 6'3", and you're getting all amped up on Amanda. We know how little Amanda is. It's crazy, man, and just to the point where he's telling Casey, you gotta choose me or Fessy, me or Fessy. Like, come on, man. Not to say that some of the reasons why he was upset weren't valid, but it didn't have to go to that level just because you were mad about him throwing an Amber. And the thing is like it's not like you had to go in, right? It was his partner. Like it's not like you guys had to go in the elimination together. And worst case scenario, if Amber went home, I don't think that really would have affected his game, really, since he still had Amber and Casey. Plus, he's known not Amber and Casey, Fessy and Casey. Plus, he's known them longer. Not to say that you can't have develop a strong relationship with somebody that you're just getting to know as compared to somebody you know longer. But yeah, man. Hopefully, this is a big moment for him to kind of get it together. And TJ even told him dude, you're embarrassing yourself and you're embarrassing your family. Get it together. So hopefully, all that energy he puts into blowing up to people, telling Fessy he's not gonna win a final, he's not gonna win a shit. Like, bro, put all that energy to actually winning challenges. Like, so far he's like 1-5 in eliminations. He hasn't won any daily challenges. The only daily challenges he's won in his challenge career was on War of the Worlds 2, but that's because you had a stacked USA team and they pretty much dominated that whole season. So, but if you're gonna go as far as working with pairs and on other teams, or maybe he did win. I'm trying to think. Maybe he did win a daily challenge on War of the Worlds. not War of the Worlds, Total Madness, because I know he was on the tribunal once or twice. But anyway, so we see another it jumps to Emmy talking to CT and Devin and saying, and Devin says, you're going to become part of our alliance. She's all for it. She's down for it. She's calling him Uncle CT because he reminds her of one of her uncles. So she tells them like, hey, my plan is to go down to elimination, win it, and that way once I win, I'm able to pick my partner. So it's kind of interesting, when I look at this season now to that somebody compared it to the Gold Skulls, which isn't really the same thing, but it's like I guess you kind of have a reason to possibly go in and risk it all to get a better partner because I'm like, damn man, the only way you'll get a new partner is if you switch eliminations, and even though you're not getting a win, I mean, shit, if you don't go down there and possibly get a better partner, I can kind of see how you're not going to probably win the final. So, like, for example, when we look at Corey and Bettina, Corey's done all right in these past finals performances. I think he finished pretty much second in these past two finals. Yeah, in Total Madness. No, in Total Madness, he actually finished third right behind Kyle as far as guys go. And then in this past final, he finished in second place. So if he makes it to a final on this season, I don't see him doing well or winning it with Bettina. Um, who knows? We haven't really seen much of what Bettina can do, but she hasn't really performed that great on daily challenges. But hey, maybe she can be like an Amber, and maybe she has really, really good endurance. Because with Amber, she won last season, but she didn't really perform that well in daily challenges. One of her elimination wins was against the smallest girl in the house. Um, I'd say with Big T, that still was I still give her credit for that elimination win over Big T because I think size wise, Big T is probably like actually maybe a little bit bigger, not too much. I think Amber's a little bit taller. And on top of that, mainly that one, it just came down to speed because it's not like she just steamrolled Big T. Like they actually went back and forth in terms of that contact. But once they broke contact, Amber got to the buzzer faster because in pretty much both rounds, by the time they made contact, Amber was pretty much just about a little more than halfway there during that elimination. So we finally get down to the elimination, and if I can back up for a bit. So Fessy gets sent home. They go into the deliberation, and it's pretty much easy for everybody at this point. Being that Esther lost Fessy, it's obvious that it's going to be a women's elimination. So pretty much she becomes the house vote. Emmy, she talked to Emmanuel, and she said she wanted to go in and pick a better partner because she was partnered with Huey, and she knows that rookie teams are always going to be a target, and she wants to get CT. So they end up when they end up going down to the lair. The agency voted in Emmy to go into elimination, and they do a hall brawl. I like the hall brawl. I don't think it seemed like in the group that I'm in, a lot of people aren't too much of fans with it. But I mean, they still it was still a headbanger for both of those women, and they kind of had a variation of this hall brawl. I think they called it Rage Cage, to where now when you get to the bell, you got to get all the way to the other side of the hall and then climb all the way to the top of the fence and then ring the bell. So I thought it was pretty cool because to me, I thought that just even turned up the physicality of it, having to climb, because I know in a hall brawl, it's already tough enough trying to push through the other person and run through them, let alone you have to climb. So I think it was a decent elimination. Emmy wins 2-0, and she ends up picking CT. And the funny thing about it is, when TJ asked Berna, what does she think about it? It's so funny how indirect she was. She's like, yeah, side note, I don't know where this came from. And, hopefully this wasn't done. I'm kind of paraphrasing everything. hopefully it wasn't done on purpose and there was ill intent behind it. And like what Emmy said, she's like, okay, but when I was down there, who were you cheering for? You know, she was cheering for Esther. That's what I thought was funny too. And Emmy's supposed to be your friend. And but granted, I know Berna was friends with both of them though. Well, she seemed to be friends with Esther. It seemed like it. She's like, "Yo, we're not friends," and that shit was hilarious because she talks about Amber being fake, but then it's like, "Hey, man, you just turned around and got played." Especially when Emmy had told her like, if I win the elimination, I'm not gonna pick CT, which is hilarious because you see the clip of them talking and they hug it out. So yeah, it's interesting. She was sitting pretty having CT as a partner, and I watched the challenge aftermath, and it kind of put some things in perspective. In his confessionals, he kept saying, "Yeah, I'm not really sure about this partnership. She's kind of doing some things I don't really like. A lot of red flags are coming up," and we kind of got it kind of shined some perspective on that when Devin said that in the uh, in the deliberation he saw Berna. No, I think CT said he saw Berna vote for Amber and Devin, so that was kind of a red flag with him, being that he's working with Devin. But I think that wasn't necessarily a shot at Devin as compared to more of a shot against Amber, wanting Amber to go in. Because I think she was like probably the only person that voted for Amber, and she was kind of going to Casey saying that Amber should go in, being that she was in the middle of all that stuff that happened between Josh and Fessy with her whole thing about being blindsided. So overall, an okay episode. So, again, they left us on a cliffhanger for nothing when it's like, with all that BS that happened, I would even been alright not even seeing like the first half of that episode, to be honest. Because I'm like, man, they took so much time to center around some BS. We knew Fessy was going to go home. I really didn't care that they made up. They could have just edited that part out too, to be honest. Um, so hopefully they'll get together and hopefully not do these terrible cliffhanger episodes from here on out and give us the full 90 minutes. But we'll see how it goes. But all right, thank you for watching. I know I'm like really late on this. The new episode is actually about to drop tomorrow. This is Monday night. I'm doing this. No, actually, Tuesday night I'm doing this. But I'm definitely gonna be more consistent in the future. If you're watching this, please give me a like, please subscribe, and watch out for my next video.